Astra Travelers, and welcome to a special episode of Tales of Teyvat, a Genshin Lore Podcast. This week, we'll be arguing over different theories, characters, and lore on this special Debate Club episode.
Ding, ding, ding! Welcome to the ring, motherfuckers! It's Debate Club. Time to take your hot takes and tell you that you're wrong.
As always, if you would like to argue with us visually, head over to our website at talesofteyvat.com. We usually do a little visual accompaniment to every episode, including this episode. So if you would like to see the people and the things that we're arguing about, head over to that site. That's talesofteyvat.com.
While you're on our site, you can also check out past seasons and other special episodes like this one, artist spotlights from the community, wallpapers to download, and some of our favorite Genshin merch.
Let us know what you think of this week's episode and what you'd like to see in the future by emailing us at talesofteyvatpod@gmail.com, following us on Twitter, Tales of Teyvat, or following us on Instagram, Tales of Teyvat Pod. Now, I want to give some quick history to our travelers out there about Debate Club. So, as you all know, the Debate Club is the best weapon you can pull. Better than any 5-star, 4-star,
Sure.
better than all 3 stars.
Is it better than the talking stick?
Much better than the talking stick. I actually, when I first started playing, had a Debate Club on my Xinyan. I was a Xinyan, quote unquote, main in the early days. So Debate Club is amazing. First weapon that truly won my heart. So when we first started talking about doing this podcast, we had said how funny it would be if we ever had an episode where we argued on purpose, which really is just every episode, but don't mind that. And we called those episodes Debate Clubs because why wouldn't we give homage to our favorite weapon? And I'm saying I am talking for the whole. It is all of our favorites.
Sure.
Is that the first debate of the night?
Yeah. Debate Club is not my favorite. If Debate Club got a little prettier as you ascended it, like some of the other ones,
It does. It's gorgeous.
It's not, not that much. It don't really do that much.
I don't know, man. I think your screen might be broken. Mine sparkles.
Does it?
Mm-hmm. It's bedazzled.
I think you have a neurological disorder.
You don't have to doubt me like that. I have a few. But so on this episode, we actually reached out to other travelers from across the world of Teyvat, aka you guys, to see what topics you would want to see us argue about on purpose and not just random things that pop up in the conversation. So we've got a ton of listener sent in debate topics that we're going to go into tonight, and we're going to try to get into as many as we can. So I'm going to set a timer. How does that sound?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, we get to argue for 5 minutes on each one. Okay?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to pick the first one on that note. So our very first question for the night, we had an email from Jesse who said, we've decided that Shenhe has the number 3rd ass in Genshin. And you also decided that Kuki deserves number 2 and that Rosaria is number 1.
Jesse is such a smart
Incorrect.
Such a smart person.
No.
Wait, I haven't even gotten to the question yet. So what Jesse wants to know is who is number 4 in order to make the perfect ass team? Remember, you have 3 bootylicious people. Shenhe, Kuki, Rosaria. So you got Cryo, Electro, Cryo. Who makes the best? I'm starting the timer now. Go!
The person that's knocking all of their booties off with his fat ass is Risley. It's a one-man team, and that's all you get because he's a motherfucker on C1. I have C1. I do have him at C1. Highly recommend. His whole ass is the entire team. There's no one else. His ass has slapped away Shenhe, Kuki, and Rosaria. I will die on this hill.
It's so good that it has to be covered up by a coat.
Yeah, that's ooh.
It's so dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as it's not, there and not non-existent like Mona.
What?
Excuse me.
Wow.
Oh, no. I mean, I think Mona has a booty, but I will say quickly, because I don't think I'm as passionate as others on this one. I would either pick Risley or Kaveh.
Oh.
Kaveh has quite the cake in his trailer when he pops up and the camera literally pans up his thighs to his ass.
You know Al Haytham was holding that.
That's fine. Whoever wants to hold it. I want to hold it. I thought those were my 2 picks.
I think y'all are messed up for trying to commit Mona erasure. Like, this is Mona's time. Hello. Like, it's specifically Mona with the tights that go all the way up.
It's true.
Look at her butt with those tights.
I mean, I'm just going to be fine with the fact that we all know because Jesse said it. It's written and right in front of us.
Jesse is wrong.
No, Jesse is very right.
No, Jesse is very wrong.
We're not debating Jesse.
One of the first topics that we received, or at least ones that we all knew of. And it started our own fight.
I think it's clear that Risley wins because 3 of you said it.
Yeah, because Risley, damn. Risley wins.
Yeah, he wins. He wins the entire team. He is the team.
Mona gets an alternate space.
Not the alternate.
Yeah.
Yes. Jesse, if you don't have Risley, then switch in Mona or Kaveh.
Or Kaveh. Otherwise, you're fucked. Those are the only people with butts.
Is Kaveh a 4 or 5?
4.
Okay, so he's more gettable too.
You can always throw in pancake ass Kaya.
Oh, God.
Oh.
I like his booty's cute.
To be ironic.
Yeah. Why not? An all cryo team, basically.
Mono cryo is the thing.
Yeah, of course.
I don't think I've tried it, but mono pyro is really good.
Oh my god, I use it all the time.
Yeah, Mona, things are looking brighter for Mona then when I really actually look at Jesse's team build. Shenhe and Rosaria. So you already have 2 cryos, Kuki, Electro. What's going to go good with that? Hydro.
A second Electro.
So Nouvelette?
Nouvelette. Wait, does Nouvelette have an ass?
I mean, I'm sure it's under there somewhere, but I can't get past all of his flowing clothes and hair and all of his like accoutrements.
Under his tail somewhere.
I was gonna go so fucking dirty.
Uh-oh.
It's actually just Risley behind him. So it's his ass.
Truly just Risley's ass everywhere. It will haunt you in your dreams tonight. But guys, that was great. First debate, 4 minutes and 15 seconds, and we had an answer. Risley. I'm very proud of us. That's going to bring us to our next question. Our next question comes from Mernaz. If I'm pronouncing that right, you know who you are. On Twitter, they asked, are you team Archons or team Elemental Dragons?
Dragons.
Archons, 100%.
Do you even have to ask?
I'm also team Archon. I'm with Tiff.
Because, I mean, for one, somebody still exists. And it ain't the dragons.
Hello?
Incorrect.
He's like a villain.
Are you talking about Nouvelette?
Yeah.
No.
What about a pet?
Yeah.
He's dead.
Fuck a Pep. You know I hate that bitch.
A Pep ate somebody. So he ate somebody with spoiled, forbidden knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he has a contract to eat my soul. So that's your guys' fault.
Eat your soul.
Even the Archons agree with us that the dragons are coming.
Just because they're coming doesn't mean they're better.
The primordial one basically invaded their space. Like, this was the dragon's world.
Yeah.
Yeah, and where are they
Primordial
now?
one came in and was like, happy Thanksgiving.
Shut the fuck up. This is not the first Thanksgiving.
It was. It was. We could not have peace.
And they lost all their power, so meh.
Did they though?
Here's my thing.
Did they though?
They did. They lost most of their powers, and the Archons have it.
We got Archons, baby.
Who are giving up their dragon powers?
Yeah, and guess who took the dragon powers and gave them to the Archons? Yeah. So their power comes from the dragons.
Well, here's my thing, right? First off, you can't blame the Archons for what the primordial one did. Because half of them probably weren't even around at that point. If not all of them. None
They're
of them.
complicit.
No,
Complicit.
they don't. know.
Maybe not. We don't know for sure what they know.
By the time the Archons came around, minimally, the dragons were gone. We know that much. Because the
maybe.
Gnosis
No,
power
well-
comes from the dragons.
Maybe, except for maybe Zhongli.
That's a whole separate debate.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, they were totally gone. And I don't think you can blame the Archons for what the primordial one did. Think about fucking wispy little Venti out there fighting a rebellion. He didn't know there were dragons, and then he met Dvalin, who's not even a savior.
Right, but they've had their time to shine. So why wouldn't you be on the team of the dragons?
Because
to, like,
every
take
time we've
back
met
the
a
night?
dragon, aka a pep, they've been a dick
They've
to
tried
us.
to eat us.
They've been jerks. At
Gee,
least
I wonder why.
yeah, I didn't take their powers.
Their land.
I didn't. I'm an interstellar traveler. I did jack shit to them.
We should go home.
We're trying to go home.
Yeah, they won't let us go home.
We were trapped on this damn planet.
And you know who kept us from going home? The same one that fucked over the dragons.
They're the ones who created the Archons.
Wait, so are you saying that the heavenly sustainer of heavenly principles is the primordial one?
Yes,
Oh.
I am saying that.
All right.
I believe that.
Even so, still has nothing to do with the Archons.
It has everything to do with them. Oh my god.
For anybody who needs a little reminder, the sustainer of heavenly principles is the beautiful chick that we see in the opening cutscene who is the one who encases one of us and throws the other one in the abyss.
Which, total side note, we had someone write into us the other day, and they had this amazing theory, basically, where, you know, we could see both of the travelers' swords in the opening scene. And when the theory was that, like, when we get locked in that cube, we lose our sword and it kind of falls down onto Teyvat. And they were saying, you know, remember during that Kaya story we did, right at the beginning, you're like looking for a sword and you kind of go and find it and you're like, this is a janky ass sword. Like, what is this? Basically, the idea was that the old wives' tale that we were following was actually like the story of our sword and like where it did land in Teyvat.
That's an
But
interesting theory.
Kaya was kind of following it along for funsies, but you know, we just found it a wooden sword. But yeah, we are at 5 minutes, so it sounds like this is an undecided debate. But I have not
I'm
been
pretty
swayed.
sure Al and I won, but
Yeah.
sure, go ahead.
We did. Travelers,
Oh.
you know who won there.
No,
Mhm.
not you guys. Anyway,
The sustainer of heavenly principles. When it comes down to her, it's just her. She wins it all.
no, I hate her.
Well, yeah, you're meant to.
Well, then you should be on Team Dragon.
Exactly.
The Archons had nothing to do with what she did.
They're
nothing.
complicit. They know.
Depends on which
They know
Archons.
exactly what they did.
No, I don't even think they know what the sustainer of heavenly principles did.
They have all-encompassing knowledge.
Yeah, but then it always comes down to saying that the Archons don't know shit. So it can be both.
Mhm.
It's true.
I mean, the Archons might be innocent, but they were not victims like the dragons.
Correct. But then again, any dragon I've met has been a jerk face to me, so I don't like them.
Osile.
Fuck Osayo.
Dvalin was just corrupted.
I'm pretty sure there's a dragon in Fontaine that has not ever been a jerk to you, but
He's
okay.
only a part dragon. He's a reincarnation dragon. Doesn't count.
That's full dragon.
That
Nah.
dragon.
He's
That's
missing
full,
everything.
that's full dragon dick right there. What are you talking about?
That's a human dick. I haven't seen one. But we are now at past 5 minutes, so we have an undecided debate. So we're gonna move on to another one. I think that this one is gonna be a good one. So this one comes from Instagram from Silver Witch. How do you think Kaya reacted / felt when he became cavalry captain, especially after everything that occurred with D-Luke? And how do you think it affected him taking the role? So before we jump into it, a quick recap for travelers. D-Luke was the cavalry captain of the Knights of Favonius prior to his father, Crapus, dying on his 18th birthday. After Crapus died and the Knights didn't really do anything because of this jackass that no longer is in the Knights but is MIA, D-Luke quit the Knights and kind of just quit everything and left.
I completely forgot that D-Luke was the cavalry captain.
Mm-hmm.
I did not remember that.
Until he was like, peace out.
So then, somewhere between the manga ending and the game starting, Kaya becomes the cavalry captain because he's only a quartermaster in the manga. And remember that the manga, it's assumed to be like maybe 2 to 3 years after D-Luke leaves. So the assumption is that like there was no cavalry captain for a minimum of like 3 years, but that's whatever.
Which is fine because they ain't no horses.
Well, all right. So that's the little background on the lore. Ready, set. What do you think he felt?
oh, this is such a consolation prize as y'all leave with all the fucking horses.
Well, Master Varka was already gone when Kaya became cavalry captain because Varka's gone in the manga already.
Exactly. He's the afterthought.
So he sent a messenger to be like, give it to Kaya.
Micah comes rolling up like, hey,
Mika
guess
shows
what?
up like, here you go.
Aw, don't do Mika dirty like
It's
that.
such an afterthought throwaway thing after he's only ever wanted this because of his, adoptive father. And they give it to him now of all times. It feels kind of shitty.
Well, do we know that he really wanted it? He might have been like, I don't want this stinking job. My brother had it, nobody cared, and there's no horses. So fuck that shit. Sorry, you're giving me a damn title that's useless.
He wanted it when his father was still alive to to follow in his father's footsteps. He really admired it. Admired.
I don't remember that.
Krapis. And he really wanted to, make his father proud of him. And then when that all died, he was like, this feels fucking horrible. And this is why he drinks.
Now, would he have tried to get the title from his brother? Would there have been a fight?
No, not like that. He wanted at some point to become the cavalry captain because I think a lot of this, once D-Luke decided to move wherever he was going to be, he hoped that he would not replace, but take up the mantle as well, so that Krapis would have both sons as cavalry captain. It's something that he kind of wanted.
Yeah, I think the idea is that, D-Luke would have moved up in the Knights and then Kaya would have taken over for him. I don't specifically remember Kaya wanting to be cavalry captain. I just remember him and D-Luke both wanting to join the Knights really badly because that had been Krapis's dream. Krapis had always wanted two things, and they were two things that he did not get. One was a vision, one was a role in the Knights of Favonius. So D-Luke, who had a vision and was the cavalry captain, was kind of living out his dad's dreams for him. And he was fine with it because he was making his dad proud. And Kaya also wanted to make his father proud. And it's probably the main reason that Kaya joined the Knights. I think for Kaya, when he eventually gets offered the role as cavalry captain, for whatever the reason may be, maybe they were hoping originally that D-Luke might take it back. Maybe, the thought process was, let's make sure that D-Luke is comfortable with this or that they've both moved on before we offer it. I'm not really sure the thought process there. Maybe they were really just in a pinch with Varka gone and Jean taking over and everything that they said, fuck it, we just need to fill his position, which would kind of suck because I do feel like Kaya has proven himself for the Knights. But I think for Kaya, it was just such a nostalgic sadness, almost as if when they offered it to him on the inside, he probably didn't want to take it. But on the outside, he felt like he had to say yes because it was for Krapis.
I think you're giving him too much credit.
What? He's a very deep character. He's very emotionally intelligent.
Is he?
Yes.
He can be
He is
emotionally
not.
intelligent and also be very keen to the world around him and knowing that he was getting a consolation prize.
I mean, it's possible, but I also think there's some form of nostalgia when you take over a role that someone you cared about once had.
I think he has deep emotions, but I don't think he's emotionally intelligent. I think he probably does a lot of things without knowing why he's doing them. So, my theory is that he was probably secretly excited to become cavalry captain because that gave him an opportunity to sort of prove his worth, but he would never show that outwardly. And I also don't think he would even know that he did that or why he felt that. But I also think that if that was the case, it's entirely possible that D-Luke recommended him secretly for the job.
I could definitely see D-Luke recommending him, but I definitely disagree with the thought process for Kaya. I think that Kaya, with his interactions with Klee specifically, has proven to us that he does have more of an emotional intelligence, and I think he's even a little more self-aware than we all think as well.
But was he when he became cavalry captain?
Yes, I think they show that in the manga. I mean, he's the one who figures out that it was Kale doing everything. He's the one who decides to help Kale decide, besides the fact that she burned a carriage and killed two Shnazaian diplomats. Kaya has a lot bigger role in the manga when you go back and read it. And I only know that or feel that way, I should say, because let's be honest, there is no facts from reading the manga on his emotions. But I feel pretty confident in that just because of the pure amount of times I've had to read the manga lately with my fanfic, just because I am currently writing stuff that's happening during the manga. So I feel pretty strongly on that. And it's okay to disagree with me, though. I'm okay with that.
I'm willing to believe it. So I I will say that you're right on it.
Can you say that again?
You're right. You're right.
I feel like no one in my life ever says that. And
Oh, Amanda.
I might just put that on repeat over. That's what I'm gonna play when I sleep tonight. You're right, Amanda. You're right.
You're right.
You're
Amanda,
right.
You are right.
All right, we're gonna go on to a next question now. This is another question off of Instagram from Holographic Meatball. I'm gonna break it up into 2 parts, and we're actually gonna give it 2 parts here. So first, they want to know who is the best 5-star character on the standard banner.
Jean. That's it. No, everything else is stupid. No,
I don't use Jean, and she's like C3.
D-Luke.
you see, you're sleeping on it. You're sleeping on it so much. Oh my god.
It's 100% D-Luke. There's no reason for him to be on that standard banner.
Okay, I don't think D-Luke's the best on the standard banner, but I can agree that it doesn't really make sense that he's on the standard banner. I'll go with that.
Wait, can I guess which one you're going to say?
What is it even a guess?
No, it's really not. Everybody in podcast land just went, Tinyari.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, Tinyari is honestly one of my best built characters, and I didn't even try. And I feel like I really have to try to get well built characters. I'm not good at building. I fucking hate it. I don't mind grinding. I just don't like building them. I get so confused. And even though Vanessa tells me I can read the artifacts with the same eyes I read lore with, it's just not clicking in my head. My Tignari's burst, when he sends out like the 5 or 6 dendro arrows, it does probably close to 40 to 50k every time. And that's better than my C3 Albedo. That's better than my C4 Dilu. It's better than my C2 Hu Tao. On a regular basis, Hu Tao kills it in the Spiral Abyss. But that's besides the point.
You need to build your boy Albedo better. What the fuck? He's not getting 40?
Well, if you were using Mona, you could have a burst that does over 200k. So I'm just gonna say that's my pick.
But you're saying of using Mona though as a support, right? Like not she's not doing that, is she?
Yes.
Oh, she's
her
doing
burst
that?
does
Oh,
that.
shit.
What did you think?
I don't know. I thought you meant like her, because her burst sometimes also supports other people, right? So I thought maybe,
but it's her burst that does the damage.
Well, my Albedo, just to say real quick, because Al, you insulted my Albedo. He does do 40 sometimes, but it's just not as often as I feel Tignari does it. Geo
some artifacts. Then you need to build your boy.
That's actually Albedo build. I read it. Listen, I gotta.
Your voice went so high there that you became the Charlie Brown teacher. Mama.
Oh no! I just said that it's a good Albedo build. I even posted on Reddit, and people are like, "Wow, you don't really have to change much." Thank you, Reddit, for also making me feel better. But I'll stop talking.
You have
now.
worked your ass off on your Albedo.
He just needs to become C6. He's not a standard character though. So why Jean and D-Luke, y'all?
Well, Jean is a great healer, and also Jean's skill does that wonderful thing if you have her constellationed up enough where it makes everyone move faster.
Yeah, that is C1. And then it's also, even just on her talents, if you get her talents up, I think it's only like 3 levels. And every time you do a normal attack, you have a chance to heal. And she's also a great flex. She can be a main healer. She can also be a main DPS. She's amazing in a Sunfire combo, like Wombo combo with Jean, Kazuha, D-Luke, and a Benny Boy. Anything along those lines, amazing. She's such a good flex. She's got the best of both worlds.
So she's my number 3. My number 2 would be
How dare.
D-Luke, which is Tiff's number 1.
Yeah.
I think D-Luke is like right on Mona's heels as far as like the best 5-star on the standard banner.
I'm gonna say that this debate is at 5 minutes, and it definitely came to a no-go.
Okay, so let's quickly do the worst.
All right.
Tignari.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Whoa!
No, or Chi-Chi.
I said Chi-Chi.
Oh, well, I say that just as like, because I think there's a different ways you can evaluate. I'm evaluating based on like usefulness in a party. And I think there are other healers that do so much better. Like, I think Jean is a better healer than Chi-Chi. I mean, if you're starting out early in the game, Chi-Chi is extremely valuable because she's a tank. So you don't, like, if you get her early on, you're going to do fine no matter what you're doing because she's indestructible. Like, you are just healing yourself constantly and doing a bunch of like, DPS just by hitting like normal, but she's not dynamic enough to like make her like one of the best healers. And I think that Jean is a little bit better of a healer. Like, if you're just going for the healer role, whereas Chi-Chi is sort of more in the middle. Like, she doesn't really swing far in either direction. She's not the best DPS or the best healer. So also, I mean, people just hate it when she ruins their 50-50.
I would say mine is Kitching because she's ruined my 50-50 so many times. So many times.
I agree with everything Brandon said about Chi-Chi. That it was my also least favorite pick. I also find it hard sometimes. I love playing as Klee, don't get me wrong, but I find it hard with the littles to do exploring because they just need more stamina. And like, I don't even climb mountains as Albedo. Like, I have to be a tall character because I was like so annoyed by the stamina running out. But I do just want to say very quickly in defense of Tignari that I hated bows prior to getting Tignari. And I will say that Tignari makes bow using so much easier because he does have a really good auto aims, which is awesome. So if you do a charged attack.
You mean with his burst?
No, his charge attack too.
Oh.
Sorry, I like spit in my mouth while I did that. His charge attack too.
Oh, drooling. Okay.
She started talking about Tignari and her mouth is watering.
No, I had like something in my tooth. I was trying to get it out. Anyway, he does have a really awesome auto aim feature, which I find super helpful as someone who is bad at bows. And I will say that one of the reasons, despite the fact that I like him, is that I do think Dendro just reacts so well and fits so well into so many different team comps that to me, having someone like Tignari who is going to do so many different types of like elemental reactions is just super helpful on the team too.
Yeah, I would agree on the Dendro aspect. He's just not my favorite Dendro. I would prefer Nahito or Yao Yao.
Well, and there's also better applicators of Dendro. Like, even Kave would be a bit better at like applying Dendro and spreading that out.
Tignari literally throws out a circle thing.
I just recently got him to 90 and I'm working on his relics right now. So I'll let you know when I have him fully leveled up.
Well, I will say Tignari's great at throwing Dendro out there because he literally creates an AoE field with his elemental attack, not his burst, the middle ground one.
And so does Kale. Kale's a 4-star.
Okay, and it also distracts the enemies. That's the whole point of it. It's supposed to distract the enemies so then you can walk away and aim from away.
I've used Kale a lot, and when I get Tignari fully relicked up, I'm going to do a comparison.
I want to see.
I have Kale pretty built. But I was just saying that I think that's saying that Tignari doesn't throw out enough AoE, like that he's not good at spreading. That he's not good at spreading Dendro.
I'm not saying that he's not good. I'm just not saying he's the best at it.
I think he's equivalent to anyone else that's out there because he also does AoE.
Feeny really likes his spreading. She thinks he's really good at spreading.
I just think that people didn't give him a chance.
People gave him a chance, but then he went to the standard banner, and then people were like, well...
No, he's the new Chi-Chi.
Yeah.
Oh, well... Anyway, we're at 5 marks for that one. I don't agree, but it's fine.
I think we all agreed that Chi-Chi's the worst.
Yeah. Sadly, poor little zombie girl.
I mean, we love Chi-Chi, but as far as like combat-wise.
And in non-combat, it's Kaching just because she fucks me over all the time.
Our next question comes from Prince RBPH on Instagram. Who do you prefer, Ether or Lumine?
Aether, just because he's got a better outfit.
Ether.
I mean, I have to say Lumine because I've never played it as Ether. And like, while I do like his outfit better, and I wish that Lumine kind of complemented him more in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's so ingrained in my head that Lumine is the one who's out there looking for her brother. It's in my head that way and I can't get rid of it.
It's really hard to justify picking one or the other because
It's also hard because it's so clear that the game did originally make Ether more canon.
Yeah.
So some things are
Yeah.
kind of hard to couple up in the game, if that makes sense. Like,
I think Ether because he has the crop top.
I mean, the crop top.
Yeah, instant crop top means your main character.
But you know what? And exactly what Beanie is saying is probably also another reason why I go for Lumine, because it's like, well, fuck you. Why'd you have to say that it's Aether? Why, if you were going to give us the choice between the two, it should have been equal. And of course, in this situation, the chick got the short end of the stick.
I totally get people defending Lumine. Also, Lumine has the Conrian flower in her hair.
Yeah, she's more representative. Oh my god, I saw something on Instagram the other day that was like, Kaya probably knows that Lumine lived in Conria for a little bit because she has the flower in her hair, and there's a chance that Kaya might recognize that. And I was like, oh shit. That's crazy, but that's not in this debate. I like Lumine better, but I kind of agree with Tiff. It's like a mixture of like a stick to the man almost.
Yeah.
But also,
well, I'm willing to switch sides. I'll go with Lumine.
There's just something about Lumine where I feel that she, like, Ether is sunshine, golden retriever boy, and there's something about Lumine where I feel like she has a little more depth and range in her emotions compared to
because
Ether.
she represents the moon instead of the sun.
Which is very true. Yeah. I just think that she kind of has more of this like dark horse moments over Ether where, and seeing her as the protagonist, I feel like she has a little more depth. I feel like she's a little more torn in situations than Ether. Like when I see her get pissed and want to go kick Scaramouche's ass during the Inazuma story quest where we go to do the Delusion Factory, like I was like, oh shit. And I just don't think I would have reacted the same if it was Ether. And I think Ether as the Abyssal twin kind of works out because we never get to see him as the golden retriever. So we just see angry Ether, and he works as just angry Ether. But when you mix happy Ether and sad Ether, you're like, you just got to be happy, boy. Sorry.
I also feel like the little quips back and forth, the sassiness and jokes between Paimon and Lumine work really well. And it might be because it's reminiscent of friendships I have with my girls, like, you know, like having those little side little things. So it might be just a familiarity kind of it, but I almost feel like they work better with the two of them when it's Lumine.
What about you, Al?
Well, I still want to go with Aether because one, I can understand where you see the depth of emotion. But I also see that. I think he's far more coded to be the main character. And while Lumine definitely is coded to be the like antagonist, not the antagonist, but to his MC, his rivalry. And a lot of that maybe because of how relationships in Teyvat kind of work around in the storyline. So we've got like Ayaka and stuff looking really obsessed with Lumine, but also with Aether. So it throws me off. I don't know, man.
I think it's meant to throw you off. I think that you're supposed to feel for both twins.
Which makes sense.
Well, I think you're supposed to feel for one or the other based on which one you picked at the beginning of the game.
Also true. But I feel like they even make you want to like the other twin, you know? Maybe it's just all the fan art I look at.
Well, at first you want to like the other twin and then you want to hate the other twin.
Yeah.
And then you start feeling like, wait, maybe this is all wrong and maybe my twin is right. So I think they're doing a good job with that aspect.
Kind of keeping it back and forth, keeping you on your toes kind of a thing.
Like before Kari Bear, I was like, my twin sucks. And now I'm like, oh my God, my poor twin.
Yeah. I also, just to add in there too, and I think that a really good point has always, you know, because it is like you choose it at the very beginning, so you don't know what part of the story you're going to be in. I do wish that they did allow for some, like at least a one-time change. Granted, it would mess up certain things and you would have to remember, you know, or make that distinction. But if you were going to swap it, so be it. But it would be kind of cool to kind of see the story from a different perspective.
Nah, you pick a path and you stick to that path.
I don't wanna. Well, actually, I do. I don't think I would change it because, like I said, I have a hard enough time remember saying my sibling and not just Aether or Lumine when we're talking.
Well, I mean, I trust that when we get to the end of the game and the time loop resets, we will play as the other twin.
We start all over again, or that inevitable time when
too.
when I like bust my account and I have to start all over.
That's the Genshin sequel.
All right, so Lumine was the answer because I changed my pick to Lumine.
All right. So we're going to move on to our next question, which is going to come from our dear friends over on Twitter, the Shade Chamber. They said, Paimon, innocent, mastermind, or our favorite unwitting pawn of Celestia?
Now that's the idea of her being an unknowing pawn to Celestia is an interesting take that I don't think I ever went to on my own. But to me, Paimon is she's just a cute little baby.
Or like as Moira Rose would say, a baby.
A baby.
Bebe.
Such a cute baby.
Are you gonna take the bebe to the party? We got no choice. This bebe follows us everywhere.
I think that she's innocent, but her origin might not be so innocent. But I think the version of her that travels with us is innocent.
Yeah, I agree.
So if she's guilty in some way or if she's malevolent, I don't think she knows it.
So an unwitting pawn.
Yes. I don't know if she's an unwitting pawn of Celestia, but it would honestly make the most sense considering her design.
I believe in the theory that Paimon was either part of the primordial shades or is one of the primordial shades, Istroth, which I do believe she is. I think, you know how like in spy movies, they accidentally don't realize that something they have is a tracker? That's what I think Paimon is.
Oh,
she's secretly a tracker, has no clue, no idea.
So we're being spied on through her.
Through her. She's unwittingly being a spy for Celestia because of the connection in my heart of hearts where she is of Istroth, of the primordial one. And if we believe the sustainer is the primordial one being an evil bitch, it doesn't make sense why Celestia is so chill with the Traveler and what the Traveler is doing unless they already had eyes.
I actually have like a whole different theory about Paimon after finishing the 4.2 Archon quest. So I'm not going to share it, but y'all need to finish it.
I'm trying.
It just came out, but you'll need to finish it.
Yeah, like a day ago.
I will say that for me, I definitely think that Paimon is innocent. I agree that I don't necessarily know if Paimon is a pawn unknowingly. I do think Paimon is either related back to the primordial one or the second who came somehow, whether that means that Paimon is Istaroth or someone else. But I'm not really sure. And I do think that Paimon truly just cares for us. And, you know, Tiff said it a few times in past episodes that every update, Paimon just becomes sweeter and sweeter and more worried about being separated from us. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a genuine fear because Paimon doesn't remember what life was like before we fished Paimon out of the sea. And I do think that Paimon is afraid of losing whatever she had.
Well, we don't know that though, do we? That she doesn't remember.
And she doesn't seem. I could
She's
be making
never
an
said
assumption.
Anything about it, but yeah,
she doesn't seem like she minimally liked what she was doing.
She never talks about anything before then. So
she just knows all the answers. Like she's just teaching us about, because I mean, she is our guide. So she knows about Teyvat enough. So even if she did forget some of her memories, she knows like the standard stuff about Teyvat.
And it's also interesting because we know that Paimon is from Teyvat because her memories got altered with Irminsul.
Mm-hmm.
So it does lead me to question things too. I mean, while I do want to heavily believe in the Istaroth theory, and that's probably my favorite theory, it also makes me wonder if Paimon is like a dragon or something that we don't know.
Could she be faking it? Could her memories have been not wiped and she's just faking it because she's like, well, fuck, I can't let them know?
I feel like we all think she's innocent, but maybe also an unwitting pawn.
I don't know about her faking her mems. I don't think so. I think that'd be hard. But yeah, that was perfect timing, Brandon. All right. Guys, we are flying through these questions. And so far, I think that the hottest anyone has gotten is me defending Tinyari.
The butts got there a little too.
Yeah, the butts. I think the butts were more.
Mona Erasure.
We're going to stay on Twitter, but we're going to go over to Chi, I think. They asked, who deserves more screen time the most? And you can't pick Albedo, which first off,
called out.
What the fuck?
Was the best.
What the fuck?
The best comment ever.
So before we get into the debate, I'm going to say it now. Albedo deserves more screen time.
No.
I cackled when I read that.
You can't pick Albedo. So who's your backup?
I said before the debate started, I'm just starting my timer. So
okay.
So not Albedo.
Not Albedo.
Albedo does. Now wait, you have to say it though. Somebody else deserves more screen time than Albedo.
Due to the constraints put upon me by this question,
No.
someone else will deserve more screen time
Let me
than
guess.
Albedo.
Kaya.
Well, I think that Kaya deserves more screen time. Honestly, right now, the person I'd like to see the most screen time from is Shang-Yun. After doing the poetry event, well, first off, I've always been a huge Shang-Yun person. Secondly, though, after seeing the poetry event and getting to see a little glimpse at Yang Energy Shang-Yun, I need a whole event of just that. Like, I need to see him doing all of his crazy shit. There's also a lot of suggestions that Shang-Yun's Yang Energy issue, it might actually be a curse/blessing put upon him by a not human. So, we were learning a lot about the curses/gifts that the Oceanid had given to people in Mondstadt.
Yeah, didn't the Oceanid suggest that he might be cursed?
Yes. And Zhao also, if I remember correctly, suggested that he might have something more than just a Yang energy imbalance. So that's two people telling Shang-Yun that, hey, maybe you need an exorcism.
Yeah, I like that answer.
So if I had to really pick someone that
to be fair, though, I do think Kaya needs more screen time.
A 100%.
I'm going to disagree with both because both of the people that you just said were in special events.
Well, Shang-Yun to me is like a surprise, but Kaya just seems tied into like the central story of the game in a way, like with Conria.
So he should show up more in the Dainsleif quests.
Yes, which was my answer.
Yeah, and I think Brandon's right too. I think Kaya is kind of stuck popping up randomly, but is any of that screen time really dedicated to him for the most part?
Outside of his 2 minutes in the beginning of Carrie Bear.
He got a little bit of a spotlight in Hidden Strife, but besides that, and then finding out, the Alberich name and where it comes from, he really doesn't get...
I don't know who Alberich is. I think you mean Alberich.
I don't know who that is. So. But I do think, I agree with Kaya, of course, too. And same like Shang-Yun. Like Shang-Yun, this is the first time we've gotten like Shang-Yun lore since his Hangout came out. Despite him appearing.
I really enjoyed it. My answer is Dainsleif or Alice. Now, I don't know if Alice counts because we've never seen her.
Yeah.
So she just needs time.
So does like more mean someone that we've seen? Because if so, I'm going to say Dainsleif. But if you're talking about playable character, I'm going to go with Pale because I feel like she is also very central to the main plot of the game, and she sort of intersects, different regions. Like she's very tied into Sumeru and Mondstadt, or Lisa for the same reason. Like she is tied into like different things. Also, Lisa's more powerful than we're led to believe, and hilarious. Like I want her to just be slutty everywhere.
I based mine on kind of what I just alluded to, was not so much of the story, but like the side events and some characters that always seem to pop up in all the little side events. It'd be nice to kind of even it out for some of the other ones. And in that case, I'd love to see a non-Archon, non-full depth kind of story that involves Yanfei, especially in Fontaine, mainly because of Fontaine. I don't know if I would have picked her if it wasn't for Fontaine. Outside of the fact that she looks like she could be a long lost relative of Charlotte, the fact that she's an attorney and she hasn't showed up in the Land of Justice, I think is a bummer. So it'd be cute, like if there was like a little like side thing with her in there. Like she doesn't have to become like an overly, as I don't think her character is necessarily like ingrained into the overall story. So like I kind of like as that little side thing, I think it would be kind of cute to see her pop up.
She's called in as a consultant.
Yeah. Something like, something that's harmless, I guess. Like Cleo always has her little summer things, and it'd just be nice if like, they kind of spread that out a little bit more to some of the characters, especially the 4 stars that get so little.
Oh.
You have to ask. It's Jean. It's gonna be Jean. Mostly because 1, she's running all of Mondstadt. 2, it's Jean.
Running Mondstadt, like you would think she would get more screen time.
Exactly. Especially like when it comes to the Mondstadt events. Like she was in the first summer event. And I can't remember any other event she's been a part of.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was surprised she didn't show up in Windbloom, the last Windbloom with Kale in them. I thought she would have a bigger part.
Yeah, she always pops up very sparingly.
Like, I get it, she's busy, but like she also needs a vacation.
But so is Ningguang, and Ningguang gets more screen time than her, I feel like.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, because Ningguang's like showing up in everybody else's stories.
Yeah.
She can't keep herself away.
Jean doesn't even show up in anyone else's story. That's the thing. It's like Jean does not exist.
She didn't even show up at her sister's. They didn't even throw her in that one.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, Babs would not allow it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But like Jean has this connection with Vanessa, with the history of Mondstadt. And there's so much more to the goings on of Mondstadt than we as the traveler playing within the game understand. We know it from the manga, but not necessarily in game. It's not just, well, we gotta do this and there's hilly trails over here. It's not that shit. It's like, do people have enough food?
I feel it in my bones, and I hope I'm right, that she is going to get more screen time once we sort of get back into like Varka and the people that left Mondstadt.
I really hope so.
Because I would assume at some point they're going to come back, and then that's going to be like a whole storyline.
Mm-hmm. I really hope so, because Jean, so sweet. And like, it feels so sad that Hoyo has kind of just left her in her office. And it's like, you're working to death. You're not coming out. You can't have fun. You can't even have a drink with Lisa or Diluc.
Yeah. So she was actually one of my backup picks. So I'm going to vote for Jean. So I think we have an answer.
Jean, my sweet love.
Oh, because it's maturity rules. I get it. I was like, how do we have an answer? I was sitting here thinking about it, like, what? No, but we can give it to Jean. I'm okay with that. I still think she'll get Gaia.
I could have voted for Kaya, but you didn't say Hemphine, so.
I said Shang-Yi.
Well, Shang-Yin did just get screen time, so
barely though. Like they gave us it's like they gave us like one like cheese and cracker off the plate, and then we're like, no more.
That's more than the non-existent air that Jean gets.
Yeah.
It's true, but I don't think he got a lot. Anyway, our next question is going to be from Twitter, from Azelis. Azelis asked a two-part question, so I'm going to start it off again. I'm going to do them in two separate questions just to make it a little easier on us. Who's a 5-star that should have been a 4-star?
This is going to get heated.
Maybe not. I think me and Tiff are on the same line here.
I wasn't really. You guys go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Aloy does not
Talk
deserve
your
to be a
slander.
Aloy should
5-star.
not be a 5-star.
It'd be one thing if she was a 5-star and she kept coming back.
She's 3-star. She's not a 5-star.
She's a 5-star.
She's a 5-star, like the Traveler's a 5-star. They're 5 stars. They just have a different colored background.
Yeah, they list her as a 5-star.
Because they're out of this world. She's a 5-star, and it's not
I don't even
fair.
consider her a 5-star, but I know that technically she probably is, but yeah. So I'm okay with this answer, but
Where does it say what star she is? Because she's like a different color.
But so are we as Traveler, and we're a 5-star.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
I think it also comes with, like, there's a certain data set.
do the other worlders even get a star count?
I
that's kind of my
thought they
question.
did, but she's considered a 5-star primarily. Let me see. Yeah, no, she is a 5-star quality. I think it just depends on, like, the rarity and the fact that she had her own banner.
Yeah, she kind of gets lumped into it.
Yeah, I don't think it's about her combat skills.
No, obviously not. But yeah, me and Tiff are Aloy. He is.
Now, Tiff, you also said someone else, which surprised me.
Oh, did I? Did I
Uh-huh.
surprise you? I said Yaimiko, and I love me some Yaimiko. Don't get me wrong. I love her in the story. I love her sass. I love it all. But to me, Yaimiko is a support to Raiden Shogun. And I feel like the way that the other characters in the game go with the Archons and stuff, I almost feel like that means like where I see like Ningguang to Zhongli, it's the 5 and the 4, like that combo. I feel like Yainiko would be a 4 to Raiden's 5. So it's a weird little take, especially being that I do like her. On a combat side, I think I don't really enjoy playing with her. I can't get her to work well. And it's not a her problem, it's a me problem.
Her combat style is very strange. It's like where she sort of dodges back and like lays a little egg. Yeah.
Yeah. And like when you can do it, like I watched a tutorial and I did it once and I was like, oh, that's fantastic. And then like 2 days later, I was like, wait, what do I do? And you shouldn't have to study to use a character.
I mean, get used to it because like every new character is like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with myself and I disagree with myself all at the same time. But Aloy is my top one. But yeah, Yainiko would be there. Would any of you disagree with me on that?
Well, just in case anyone listening does not think that Aloy should count because she's not available for everyone, who else would you say? And while you think about that, I'll go. I said 5-star to 4-star. I said Yelan or Linny. And this isn't really because of their combat. So I know like earlier we answered a sort of similar question. I was like basing it on combat. So this time I'm sort of basing it on the storyline. And I don't think that Yelan or Linny, I don't think their characters' stories are strong enough to make them a 5-star.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I'd agree with Yelan, but I wouldn't agree with Linny. Because for me, a 5-star character should be a character that's important to the storyline. And Linny is really important to the storyline.
But is he?
Yeah.
He's just a Snezhnayan orphan that does magic. Like, who cares?
Yeah, but without Linny, we would have never gotten involved in what we're involved in.
Just because we ran into him first?
No, but that whole case would have never happened. We would have never defended him. We would have never gotten involved with the orphans.
But you know what I mean? That's just sort of circumstantial.
But we also won over the trust of Arlecchino because of them. And that's all I'll say there. And I think without them, we might not.
Yeah, but that could have been a 4-star role.
But for me, I think Linny's important enough to be a 5-star.
So then in that same respect, should Lynette be a 5-star?
Mm-hmm.
No, I still think Linny's the more important one. Because you could also then say Fremine should be a 5-star. Because they are
But he's not involved in the magic trick.
Not in the trick, no.
Because Linny and Lynette are both on trial, right?
Yeah, but it's mostly Lynn. Let's be real. Lynette's just being an accomplice.
Linny just seeks more attention than Lynette.
That's because he loves
She's
us.
like, I just want to sit here and have 3,000 desserts. Leave me alone.
I do want to say, for me, my 5-star that should have been a 4-star is Nilou.
Nilou.
Ooh,
You
wow.
fucking hate Nilou. You have had it in for Nilou.
Yeah.
Listen,
I
I did accidentally lose an albedo constellation to her, which I take full blame for. It was my fault.
I wish it's one of those moments that I wish was recorded, because while it's painful at the time, it was hysterical, because for travelers who might not know this story, set the stage. Our dear fiends, we all know how much she loves Albedo. It's her time to get a constellation for him. Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you even look to see who she's wishing on? Because you know she's going to wish on Albedo. And then little fiend's little finger flipped over the wrong banner.
I just wasn't paying attention. It like reset. You know how sometimes when you open the wish banner, it goes right back to that first one?
Yeah, and she was the new character. She was first. And
and then it turned gold, and I was like, yes! And I was like, and I knew that I didn't have a 50-50 to lose.
It was guaranteed. She was guaranteed an Albedo. And then the redheaded Nilou.
I wish you guys could have seen my fucking face. Like, we were on Discord, so no one could see it.
Mm-hmm.
The silence was deafening.
But yeah, so despite my qualms with Nilou for my own reasons, I just feel like she was, again, I think someone who was super instrumental to the Archon and storyline should be a 5-star, and Nilou only danced. And it does not make sense to me.
It's kind of like Linny. Like, he only did magic.
No. I think Linny did more than magic, personally.
All I mean, Nilu got everybody to like be distracted so they could actually do their
She
plan.
like rallied a whole group of people.
We could have distracted in other ways. I just don't think. I think when your main thing was that you distracted.
I think you like Lenny and you hate Nilu, and that's it.
No, because I would also say that Chi-Chi should have maybe been a 4-star, but I think that her combat makes up for that.
Chi-Chi's ability to raise your entire team from the
Her
dead.
storyline is also like insane.
Nilu's?
No, Chi-Chi, like she's the only zombie.
Yeah.
I was like, Nilu?
Little drag boy should have been a 5-star before Nilu.
I'm gonna have to say Klee, even though it hurts me.
She's literally Alice's daughter.
I mean,
Exactly.
I think that's valid because Alice would be a 5-star. She could be a 4-star. She's a little
Mhm.
kid.
What if we find out that Klee is Alice? Da, da,
Oh
da.
God. In the future, oh my God, she's
Just
her
the
own mother.
future?
I still think it's rude that they made her a Knight of Favonius before poor little Noelle.
Yeah.
It's so rude.
I think it's more of an honorary title, I think. Spark Knight. Although they're terrified of her.
All right, so who was a 4-star that should have been a 5-star?
So that's the other half of Azelus's question.
I think we already have a winner because I know 3 of us picked the same person.
Yeah. And we've said it multiple times.
Ningguang.
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 I don't think Ningguang should count.
What?
Here's my reasoning. I don't think Ningguang should count because we all know that she was originally supposed to be a 5-star.
Was she though? Is that just a rumor?
Whether or not it's a rumor, it is a strong rumor that is out there that the developers originally had her as a 5-star, but then wanted to give everyone a Geo character right away because of all the Geo puzzles, blah 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 blah. So I feel like that's a cop-out answer.
But that whole thing though doesn't hold water when you think of the fact that they let that Traveler is Geo and can do everything.
Mm-hmm.
I changed every single time I brought Traveler to a new nation. They have immediately switched over.
I changed once and then went back.
So we all know that's a real answer, but let's pick a backup.
Yeah, pick a backup. I don't like it.
Mine is going to be Beto. And I have a really good reason for picking Beto. And it's not because she's Ningguang's girlfriend. Believe it or not.
I'm dead. The true power couple.
I actually think that, and I'm not a Beto player, like her combat's like whatever, but her storyline is like when you think about her strength in the story, her fleet battled a Hydra for like 4 days, and then she cut its head off with one swing of her sword. And that's how she got her vision. So she did this before she stayed up for 4 or 5 days and then sliced a dragon's head off with her sword before she had a vision. So 5-star.
Pretty valid.
Sino read a book.
Stop
Sino read a
picking on Sino.
My backup to it is actually Babs because she raises the dead. Seems like a super impressive thing that you could do. And I guess even the way that she got her vision, she healed this little boy who was like on death's doorstep. So like she ended up getting her vision because of everything that she did like heroically to save him. But the simple fact that at C6, if you have Babs and somebody in your team falls, they immediately come back. And that includes in Spiral Abyss.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
I think it's burning jealousy that should make her a 5-star.
For all the younger siblings out there who had to look up to their older siblings.
What about you, Al? Who's your Ningguang backup? Y'all all picked Ningguang, damn.
Yeah, because she's amazing. I'm in between Fischl and Babs, but I'm just gonna say Fischl now because we've talked plenty. She's out of this world, y'all. She's out of this world.
Literally.
Potentially, literally.
Potentially. The fact that she's in Honkai, she's probably gonna be in Star Rail.
Her brain is definitely out of this world. She is a space cadet with a capital S.
So originally for this, I did think Xingqiu, and I did write Xingqiu down in our notes. But I was really thinking more combat in the moment. I was like, oh, we always talk about how Xingqiu is great and like blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, he is.
I think too, Xingqiu story-wise, he brings in a lot, hopefully soon. When it comes to his father's business, I think that Xingqiu will play a big role when we eventually find out that his brother is Pantalone. That's just my thought process.
He's like the Liyue Ayaka.
But I'm actually going to take it back for a minute and say, I think it should be Kale. And my reason for that is how deeply rooted she is, like Brandon said earlier, into the Mondstadt and Sumeru stories and history, but also how involved she is with the Fatui. Like, she knows Dodoray. You know, she burnt down Dodoray's hospital. She literally has the power of dead gods sealed inside of her, similar to her one father. So I think that she definitely deserves to be a 5-star.
Now, do you think it's possible that, much like a certain character in Honkai Star Rail that I won't name,
that I love,
that Kale could eventually sort of switch forms and have a different version that could be a 5-star?
So I don't want to talk too much about Star Rail because I know that it will kill Tiff. Not as much as like Honkai Impact does, but for said character, I will say when Star Rail did that with that character that we're not naming, who is my favorite character in Star Rail, so if you know, you know, that I was really surprised by it. Like, I originally thought it was just a skin. I didn't realize it was like a whole other character.
I mean, they also killed someone.
She deserved it.
Because it wasn't her. It wasn't actually her.
Right. It was her body was taken over, right? By the crazy lady that I can't beat.
And that's insane.
So I do think it's possible, but I also think then Kale, like, that character, it really was like their past self. Kind of, I don't know. It's very confusing because it's like their past self, but then they can go back to their regular self. So I don't know. But
wait, so our answers for that one was Aloy or different answers, and then Ningguang or different answers.
Yeah, no one really agreed completely on those, aka me. I don't know why. I didn't even look at everyone's answers. I guess I'm difficult. All right. So our next question, it comes from actually Prince, who we answered a question for earlier. They asked who is better, the Aranaras or the Melazines?
The Aranaras.
Yeah, I also thought the Aranaras, although I haven't gone that far with the Melazines.
So why do y'all think the Aranaras?
I think the Aranaras because they not only are integral into the story and stuff and their ginormous odyssey, and they help us to be able to breathe and stuff. And I know I've mentioned it before. I love the little, like, almost like Aesop's fables that they kind of have. Like, they have a beautiful way of kind of trying to teach you things as well. So the, you know, like the whole thing on death where they're like, it's okay. Like, this is how it goes. Like, I'm going to forget, but that's the way I'm supposed to be. You know, I think it's just a very beautiful concept.
They really, they do reflect a lot of humanity back at us. I actually said the Melazines because I find them more interesting. Now, I do love the whimsy of the Aranaras and how they're sort of like deep, but like also airheads. But I think the Melazines are just fascinating because we know that they were born from the wounds in allegedly an abyssal dragon created by gold.
Question mark.
But like, what are they? Like, they look weird. You know that they can like sort of see and evaluate better than regular humans. It seems like they're almost like a race that is born from something that we haven't met yet in a way. So I just find them fascinating and I'm going to go with them. But I think it's clear that the winner of this is Aranaras.
Yeah, baby.
My one little thing, and I know that you're not asking me to disagree with you, but I'm going to. With the Melazines, my main thing with it is that the one Melazine that is the coolest out of all of them is Sigewinne, and they made her like a hybrid. So it was like they weren't good enough all on their own. They had to still make one a little extra special.
Now, I know everyone loves Sigewinne, but I'm going to argue with you that the coolest Melazine is Mimere.
Mimere is cool, but Sigewinne, she's got a whole job.
But Mimere,
like, that's not just like
blood and like
that is very goth of Mimere.
Can hear like the voice of the Melazine god in her ears and no one else can. But Sigewinne actually has like more humanoid hands. She's different.
Which I have questions about.
Yeah. Same.
So every time I open this damn game, I'm like, questions, more questions, more questions.
You only half Melazine?
You know that more energy, more passion. Like, that's how I feel. All right. Let's try to speed run some of these so we could try to fit them all in. So we won't go as in depth on these, but I want to fit as much as we can in. So we're going to go in order. So our next one is from Tenera Catering. I don't know if you really are a catering, but if you cater, we want to know what. On Instagram, they asked the Saritsa and the Archons, are they working together to take down Celestia?
Yes.
No.
Mm.
I think the Archons are like, fuck this, I don't want to do this job anymore. And they're kind of like, this might be an out, but I don't think they're working with the Saritsa.
So I vote no, but I think that the Archons would also be fine with what the Saritsa is doing.
Right. I agree with Brandon. I think the Saritsa is trying to take Celestia down, and the Archons are just kind of like,
Whatever.
I got nothing else
what
to
would
do.
that be like? Ow. That would be like assisted homicide. Like what?
No, assisted patricide.
Patricide.
Second degree murder.
Second degree murder. Accessory to murder. That's what I was thinking.
I was like, accidental murder?
Accidental murder. Why do you think they are, though?
Well, mostly because of how the Archons are very nonchalant and don't really care. Well, a few of them don't care about giving away the Gnosis.
Yeah, I was going to say they do all give their Gnosis away to
Exactly.
the Fatui. So that is a good point.
Yeah, and I don't know, like, it could be because they do believe in what the Zaritza is doing, or they believe the Zaritza is a means to an end to take down Celestia. Whichever way, they are working together, kind of canonically, because those that give their Gnosis to the Fatui are working with the Zaritza.
I'm starting to feel swayed, but I'm gonna stick with my other answer. But I'm keeping that in my brain.
I definitely get why. Like, but I think that some of them just kind of are like, I don't care what the Saritsa is doing with my Gnosis. I just don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
Godspeed.
Yeah.
That's what I would do, honestly. No, I wouldn't. I'd be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Are they going to do something bad with my powers? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I'd be so nervous. All right. So it sounds like the winner there was no. All right. Olive on Instagram asked, is Bennett good at C6?
And
Yes.
Tiffany asks, is Bennett good at C1?
Yes.
Wow.
The answer is yes to both.
Bennett is good.
Bennett's good, just hands down.
That's my entire argument. Meh.
I do think he's a little overrated, but he's very good.
Yeah, I feel like everyone hates him. I didn't know that he was overrated.
Oh no, people in Spiral love him. Like, he's used constantly in Spiral. Like, combat wise, people are obsessed with Bennett.
But not his C6.
Yeah, and that's just due to the fact that it limits him to a certain degree, but it's still pretty damn good.
No, wait, how does it limit him? Because all I remember is that
So it turns all damage into like a pyro damage. So if you're trying to do more vaporized, or you're trying to do a different reaction, probably not gonna want to have a C6 Bennett, or you're just gonna want to swap him out for a different pyro support.
All I'm going to say is that C6 Bennett better be good, because I couldn't stand that notification.
Me neither. Amen to that, Fiends. Could not stand it. I didn't even, I think it may have been Al watched me actually do it and went, no. And I was like, no. Can't have the notification.
It hurt a little bit, but I'm at a point where his C6, it is not that bad. So swords, claymores, and polearm wielding characters inside the Fantastic Voyage, which is his AoE, gain 15% pyro damage bonus, and their weapons are infused with pyro. So it really does limit you to kind of just doing pyro damage.
like a Yaka who, if you use her sprint, that infuses her sword with cryo. But if you're in Bennett's burst zone, instead of doing cryo damage, she'll be doing pyro damage. So it can sort of mess up your plans on reactions, but it's still doing a lot of damage.
It's still doing a lot of damage, and it works really well for a lot of different team comps, especially if you're using a gene like, is it Sunflower or Solar Flare? There's multiple. Basically, you want a fucking fire tornado. Like, a lot of people use Jean, Zhao, Xiangling, and Bennett for a lot of sick fucking Animo swirl infused pyro damage. And it's better to keep him at C5 if you want him to be very flexible in team comps. But if you want him to be very pyro damage heavy and to buff damage in a pyro way, then absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you'll still get that stuff from C5, like his burst buff, but I don't think C6ing him is like horrible. It's not great. It's like, I get why people hate on it, but if you it really kind of depends on the team that you want to use him in. So if you like using Ayaka and you're depending on her to do some kind of reaction with her cryo regular attacks, then that's an issue. But if you don't really care about that, then he's still fine at C6.
Yeah, he's still great. It's just using him in a different way. And I think a lot of people are like, I have to figure out a different way to use Bennett. I don't want to do that. I hate this. So it's still good. All of it's good. All of it's good. Benny boy, unlucky motherfucker, a great, great buddy.
Yeah, I have no opinion.
So the answer is yes. He is good at C6.
And C1.
Meh.
Tiff.
Meh. No, you're not getting a unanimous out of this one.
Well, I think they win because I said I don't care.
Oh, yeah, they won. They're just not getting unanimous.
All right. All right. We have one more question left, guys. We are jumping back to our good friends over on Twitter, the Shade Chamber. They said, who's in the right here? Celestia, the Abyss, the Fatui? Are there other factions that maybe we should be aware of? Do we think the Archons are shunning Celestia? What are the Primordial one doing? What is the Primordial one doing? What is Dainsley's agenda? What about the Traveler's own agenda? There's a lot there.
There's a lot there.
The reason I'm going to say it's the Fatui, and the reason is because theory, like, why are all the Archons giving their Gnosises to the Tsaritsa? Why are they giving it to the Fatui? Why are they taking this stance? Is it because Celestia, aka the Primordial one, has kind of gone off its rocker and has been like a dick? Case in point, in Kanomiya, and everything about forbidden knowledge, rude Primordial one. And this is all an agenda to bring back the Dragon Lords. Thank you. Good night.
I could see that. I think we don't have enough facts yet. I do think that if I had to pick between like Celestia, the Abyss, or the Fatui, I do think the Fatui is most in the right as of right now. And I don't want to say too much about some of the reasons I think that, because it does involve the current Archon quest. But I do think that for the most part, the Fatui are just fighting for freedoms. The Abyss, though, could also be argued because obviously like half their people were turned into beasts and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, I do think there's more at play here. And I think there are a lot of people in Teyvat that are trying to get rid of Conria and like wipe it off the face of the planet. And even in our Sino episode, we were just talking about what was it, Brandon?
The Temple of Silence?
Yes, the Temple of Silence. Like when we were talking about the Temple of Silence, I was like, oh, we literally have this like secret society basically that seems to be trying to erase Conria.
There's also one in Fontaine that they're not trying to erase Conria, they're trying to use Conrian technology.
So I think there's a lot more at play here. And I don't feel too comfortable with answering who I think is exactly in the right because we don't know enough. We also know there's a secret spy network that D-Luke's in. We know nothing about that. We know we have the Shumatsuban. We have a whole nation that we really honestly know nothing about when it comes to Natlan. So I don't know yet. I really don't. But if I had to pick, I would think the Fatui is in the right. Celestia can't be right. They just keep fucking sky nailing people. That's not how you handle conflict.
Well, they did in the past. They don't keep doing it.
Well, I'm just saying, like, that's not a way you should handle conflict.
But what if that was holding the world together?
Nah, I think they were just like, fuck you, and fuck you too. Boom, 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 like throwing ninja stars.
Yeah, maybe we don't know what else they were doing there that they deserved this guy now.
Wouldn't that be the twist if Celestia was the good guy?
No, cannot.
I honestly don't think that any of them are right. I think they all think that they're right, and they're all just sort of like doing what they think is best, but it's all at the cost of everyone else. Like Celestia is like, I gotta make sure the humans are okay, but the dragons are fucked over. And then the Abyss is like, we gotta overtake Celestia, but the nations are fucked over. And the Fatui is like, we have to overthrow Celestia as well, but we're gonna fuck over innocent humans like within the nations, not overthrow entire nations, but just like be insidious about it. And then I do think that like Conria was also fucked up because they were probably like, we gotta protect ourselves and fight against Celestia, but then they unleashed a bunch of monsters that terrorized Teyvat. And then I do think that there are other factions to worry about. And playing through Fontaine recently, I think that the Narcissan Kreutz is one of them.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know who I think is in the right. I just know that I never think it's the Fatui. I feel like the Fatui still has a lot of bad shit going on, no matter how much they try to convince us lately. I don't think you can look at Dodore and say, yeah, he's fine. So it's like, I feel like there's a lot more bad to the potential good. Doesn't mean that every Fatui is bad.
I feel that way about the Abyss Order too, like because of all the stuff that happened in Mondstadt, and then we find out our sibling is leading it.
Yeah, I'm so conflicted with that, honestly. That's still like, and like you said, at that point in the story, I was really like, I was so mad. I'm like, well, fuck you. I don't really care where the hell you are now.
Right.
I'm dead.
Why do I need to save you?
Fuck that twin.
Fuck that guy. You know, I don't know. There's something with the Abyss that I feel like is really like, I feel like our twin may be being manipulated into it. And that there's something more there that I feel like we may actually, in the end, turn them right.
Okay.
That would be interesting.
But I don't know. Like, but I don't know.
Well, I think there were 2 votes for Fatui. Wait, who did you vote for, Fiends?
I said Fatui.
So 3 for Fatui. So Fatui is the answer.
All right.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
The Fatui is in the right. And it's not just because our logo is based on the Fatui.
Well, I do think that's all the time we have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed debating with us. Although I will say we didn't get too bad. We were pretty good.
We were well behaved. I feel like we all have well balanced opinions, except for Albedo.
Hey.
and when it comes to asses,
We all have our types. I do want to say though, you know, here in the States this week where we're located, it is Thanksgiving. And we've been doing this for a whole year. And we just want to say how thankful we are to all the travelers who have listened to us fighting over ass, buttholes, who's better than who, what ships are best, while also talking about some pretty complex stuff. I still can't get the elemental realms, like all the different realms straight. Like Brandon has to explain it to me every time it pops up. So thank you for dealing with some of our goofiness and our quirks and hanging out with us and supporting us. It really means so much to us. We are so grateful to everyone who has ever listened to even 5 minutes of the podcast.
yay! Thank you.
We love you guys.
And with that being said, next week we'll be back with a normal episode. But until then, travelers, safe journeys. We'll see you next time.
Bye, high school debate club nerds.
I was in Model UN, so
Ooh.
Oh,
I was too
exciting.
I was
afraid.
an extra nerd.
Wow.